First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, double honor to the elders, great millstone, and salutation to Ayakim on the house and byway, bidding to this marriage, teaching his work sincerely and faithfully. This is going to be about, I'm titled the video, The Dollar is going to Collapse. The collapse of the dollar. So there's a lot of videos that have been popping up lately. I mean, right now, as you see, and my phone is lagging. All right, so you got one that was 7 hours ago, one day ago. So as some people who don't know, that's happening right now. A lot of countries are dropping the dollar as the currency. You know, the reason why America made so much money over the years is because everybody had a dollar, but now if you didn't use the dollar, the military, the United States would threaten you militarily, like, hey, if you don't use that dollar, I'm gonna show up with a Glock in your face, basically. If you're not using, he's basically gonna hold you hostage. America would do that. Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, all those African leaders, right? They got killed because they didn't want to use the dollar. They want to go to a different currency, and guess what? They were dead. But America can't do the same thing they did to Putin or China, right? Because they're not some minor countries, right? But they've been getting stronger. But I'm gonna get this video right here. This one seems really interesting. Why?
They didn't play with heart. They just didn't play with heart. Let's go! Let's go!
It's in Brazil.
The title says, "Why the world is dumping the American dollar."
The dollar is facing a revolt. The world knows it as the king of currencies, but the dominance of the dollar is now under threat. More and more countries are looking for alternatives, and China's yuan is emerging as a clear challenger. Beijing is pursuing a string of deals. The latest one is with Brazil. Brazil and China are ditching the dollar. From now on, they'll use their own currencies for trade. So China is pushing the yuan. What about the Indian rupee? It's not far behind. The Indian rupee is also emerging as a serious contender. And why are these trends significant? Because currencies drive commerce. The dollar's dominance gives the US an outsized influence on the global economy, and a shift away from the dollar will only hurt America.
See, so the global influence, the way you get your coffee, the way you get your clothes, the way you get your bread from France, right? French toast, French fries, but there's a lot of bread that, and other foods that come from other countries. A lot of foods, a lot of clothing, a lot of meats, electronics come from China, right? Your refrigerator, your washer, your dryer, your microwave, all come from China. Your radiator, your heater, a bunch of stuff. Your cars are made in China. Most likely, America doesn't make anything, right? China makes a lot of things. A lot of electronics. Your phones, most definitely your phones, radios. So if you think you're gonna get something out of this, America's finished. If these countries switch, they're gonna switch. They're already saying it. America is gonna face a lot of the dollar is gonna face a lot of backlash because these countries are giving up the dollar. China got their own currency called UN. Try to the Gaddafi Salaki. Try the Gaddafi strategy that you tried in 2001 to Xi Jinping. The president of China. Try that. It's not gonna work because they're gonna know who killed him too. They're not. You assassinate him. Yep. Most likely America. Right.
It will also hasten the rebalancing of the global economy. In the next few minutes, we'll look at this trend and where this is going. First, the events in Brazil. Brazil announced the deal yesterday, and it did not come out of the blue. The agreement had been in the works for a while. A preliminary pact was signed in the month of January. It laid the foundations of the final agreement, and it's a fairly simple deal. Earlier, Brazil and China used the U.S. dollar for trade. Now they will deal in their native currencies. China will use the yuan, and Brazil will use the Brazilian reais. How does it help? It will save costs. Look at the official statement from Brazil. This is what it says. The expectation is that this will reduce costs, promote even greater bilateral trade, and facilitate investment. China is Brazil's biggest trading partner. Last year, their bilateral trade was worth over $150 billion. So it makes sense for Brazil to ditch the dollar. But what's in it for China? Beijing is on a mission. It wants to internationalize the yuan. It is building a large coalition of partners. These are countries that will use the yuan instead of the US dollar, and Beijing has made considerable progress in this direction. It has secured bilateral pacts with 41 countries so far. The total value of these agreements is more than $500 billion. So the yuan is gaining international acceptance. And the petro yuan is rising. Now, what is the petro yuan? It's not a different currency. Petro yuan is simply using the yuan to settle oil bills, just like the petro dollar. And China is making an aggressive push for this. It is finding takers in oil producing nations. Russia, for instance, it has embraced the yuan. So have Iran, Venezuela, and some African nations. Now, reports say Saudi Arabia is also considering the switch from the dollar to the yuan. And this is going to be a very important development. We know that Riyadh has been at odds with Washington and is getting closer to Beijing. But ditching the dollar will be a decisive move. Meanwhile, the Indian rupee is...
So you got China and Saudi Arabia moving. You got Saudi Arabia meeting up. So Saudi Arabia was once an ally with America, right? Always on the same page. If you protect me from Iran, I'll give you oil. But now everybody's leaving the dollar, and everybody, guess what? They're blaming Joe Biden. Every comment I see is Joe Biden. I'm telling you, man, someone's gonna kill that man. Someone's gonna kill him. I see it happening. Like, someone's gonna someone yoke him up. Someone's gonna do something to Joe Biden. Whether he's the real Joe Biden or not. I've been hearing that a lot lately. But I can see it happening. People are gonna yoke him up, man. They're gonna shank him. They're gonna shoot. Something's gonna happen to him. This man, everybody's getting tired of him. But anyway, Saudi Arabia, right? So why is it called the petrodollar? Petroleum. Petroleum means oil, right? Petroleum is another word for oil, right? And the only way you can get oil is if you go in dollars, right? Now, in majority of the world needs oil. Russia, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the one that's dealing with America. Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Australia. What's some other countries? France, Britain, Spain. So a lot of these all these countries across the globe, right, needs oil for their cars, right? For their planes, tanks, jets, fuel. They need fuel. Gas stations, right? Now, if that's why it's called a petrodollar. It's because the dollar is mostly used for petroleum. That's what it's called. But if they said petro yuan or yuan petro, it will be oil used in China dollars in a way. And now, if that happens, America's not going to be the superpower as it once was, because people usually would buy stuff in American dollars. But since you got a lot of countries switching off from American dollars to China now what?
Also competing in this race, last year India's Reserve Bank made a move. It allowed international trade settlements in the Indian rupee. It's still early days, but India has made progress. Banks in 18 countries have shown interest. They've opened special accounts, and these accounts will help them settle trade payments in the Indian rupee. And these are the countries we're talking about. They're ditching the dollar. They want to use the Indian rupee for trade with India. Earlier this year, Brazil and Argentina floated an idea. They're thinking about a common currency for South America. Halfway across the world, Southeast Asia too is losing patience with the US dollar. In Africa, countries like Kenya are dumping the dollar. They'll use the Kenyan shilling for oil import.
See, this is why America's at war. And America, Esau about to bomb some. You think Esau is he? Esau can't do nothing. Esau, honestly, Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Hussein and Gaddafi, right? They both ditched They tried to ditch the U.S. dollar for gold standard, right? They couldn't do it. Why? Because they were small nations. Now you got all these other nations doing it all together, all at once, simultaneously. Especially Russia and China, the two biggest nations after America. America can't fight those. They can't invade like they did to Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. They can't, because they got a military, right? They got robots and all that other stuff, drones. They can't run. Yeah, we're gonna go in there and they're gonna accept the dollar. If they don't, we're gonna bomb them, or we're gonna they're gonna force democracy. It's not gonna work. Their democracy strategy, it's not gonna work because they're not as weak as they used to be. That's gonna go into the Bible prophecy that's coming up. I'm gonna show you. Bible scripture.
So here's a question. Why is all of this happening now? Why is there a global rebellion?
There's a global Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. She said why? I gave you the answer. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Yahweh Shai does not want this America to go on anymore. It had reached the limit. It has reached its peak in a way. Roughly paraphrasing, America reached this. He reached the bound that he cannot pass. America it got there. It's there. In a way, it spiritually reached its own firmament, which means it's bound. I'm trying to say, firmament, as in the water is above earth, which you cannot pass. Well, Esau has his own firmament, and he can't pass it. His spiritual firmament. Well, he can't surpass what's happening. This is judgment from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Esau's been doing wicked for years. No, I mean decades, centuries, forever. Alexander the Great till now, the Roman Empire, the Caesars, the Caesar family, right? The Agrippas of the world, the Hitlers, Jeffrey Dahmers, and Julius Caesars. All these Edomites that been doing wicked, they're gonna have to pay. The children gonna pay. They're gonna pay, right? They don't, whether they believe it or not. It's happening, right? She said, "Ask why now? Because why? Because the Lord says what. That's why. America reached it. The Lord is like, you know what? It's time to release judgment. The Lord's been patient with this country long enough. If you're not willing to change your ways, then what else is there for you?"
Against the dollar. Also, how did the dollar become the world's reserve currency? It happened after the Second World War in the year 1944. 44 allied countries met at Bretton Woods in the US. 44 countries came together. They wanted to avoid another financial turmoil, so they created a system, a set of rules that would shape the global economy as we know it today. It led to the creation of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, also the World Bank. The Allies also agreed to a new exchange rate system. Each country pegged the value of its currency to the US dollar, and that's how the American dollar gained its dominance. The Bretton Woods Conference gave the US immense power to dominate the global economy. It created two financial institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, largely controlled by America. And they're still quite powerful and still led by the US. As for the dollar, it is still widely used, both inside and outside the US. About $1 trillion notes are in circulation outside America. Some 40% of the world's debt is issued in US dollars. Nearly 60% of the global currency reserves are in US dollars, and close to 90% of all foreign exchange trade involves the US dollar. The world economy is hooked to the dollar. But now it wants to give up this addiction, but it'll not happen overnight. The dollar's downfall, though, has begun.
So she's saying it's begun. So America's dead, right? It's affecting other countries. And everybody's tired of it. Every time, I was reading a video. Salaki, I said reading. I was watching a video. When NATO and you know what's interesting about that? We have a chart. At Great Millstone. The horse shall ride the beast. Talking about NATO and America, Babylon, NATO and Babylon, right? The beast and Babylon. Everybody recognizes NATO as America. I was watching this video. This person was saying that when NATO and America goes to war, he says, well, America, when America goes to war, because they don't see NATO without America. You get what I mean? And then when that happens, when they go to war, they go into debt. And when they go into debt, it doesn't really affect them as much as it does these smaller countries that take the dollar on. Like the African countries, right? The Indian countries, all these smaller countries, right? And that's what's happening. These smaller countries are taking on the debt. Brazil, Argentina, right? All these smaller Latin America, South Hamites, African. They're taking on the debt, right? And they're tired of it. They're tired of being the... I don't even know what to call it. The chauffeur, the butler, if you want to call it that. They're being a butler, and they're tired of it. They're tired of taking low blows. Every time America does something, they got to take the fall for it. You know what? No, you go under the bus this time. That's basically what they're saying. I'm gonna get this scripture right here. Joel chapter 3 verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. And that's not what happened. That's not what's happening right now. All these smaller countries are getting together, going against the dollar. Saudi Arabia. A better example is like Africa. China. At one point, China used to be a farmer, agriculture, all into agriculture. But now, guess what? They turned into a damn. They turned into a superpower. Latin American countries. You got Mexico want to go to BRIC, right? Iran wants to go to BRIC. The scripture say that what? Joel 3 and 10, beat your plowshares and your sword and your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. They're tired of America. All these smaller countries are tired of America. And now what's gonna happen? They're gonna start joining allies with Russia. And America is gonna lose the number one. America's gonna be a third world country. Every time all these Americans always mocked, especially Edom. No, honestly, it's always Edomites. It's always Edomites. Oh, America, the strongest military. We can never lose. We can, we got the dollar. They always need us. We're the strong. All this and that. There's always all this chit chat, all this talking. But it's not gonna matter real soon. That's all Esau does is he runs his mouth. He talks about revolutions. He ain't done a revolution in how long? 200 years. He talks all this trash, and he had nothing. He's not backing it by nothing. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't pinning no work. What Esau could do is just die. That's what he can do. Anyways, America's gonna collapse. The economy is gonna implode. It's gonna have the scripture say it, right? They're gonna push in that digital system, the CBDC, which will become the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast. People don't see. People don't understand that this is all part of the Lord's plan, right? Look at this. I'm gonna read this article shortly. Not all of it. Well, I'm gonna read this one first, actually. I'm gonna save that article. This is CNN. China and Saudi Arabia are getting closer. Should the U.S. be worried? Saudi Arabia this week moved closer to joining a China-led Asian security and economic bloc, having been granted the status of a dialogue partner in the Shanghai Organization. As it expands its global outreach, a global mostly ex-Soviet states, the SCO includes Russia and China as well as other major economic players such as India and Pakistan. The kingdom could eventually be granted full membership. China's growing role in the Middle East of late has alarmed Washington. This month along, Beijing meditated a landmark agreement between arch foes Iran and Saudi Arabia that could help significantly ease Middle East tensions. Saudi Arabia has also significantly strengthened its energy ties with China by announcing on Monday a $3.6 billion deal to buy 10% of China's Ronsing petroleum chemical, which would see it supply 480,000 barrels per day of crude oil to the company. Analysts say that as the U.S. rivalry with China and Russia intensifies in the increasingly polarized world, Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern nations are choosing diverse to diversify their global partnerships. But while states like Saudi Arabia may be getting closer to China, Beijing is far from becoming a U.S. rival in the region, they say. The traditional monogamous relationship with the U.S. is now over, said Ala Shibhabi, a Saudi analyst and writer, and we have gone into a more open relationship, strong with the U.S., but equally strong with China, India, the UK, France. So, so basically just going against everything that's against America in a way. The polarization is the reason different parties bring different forms of influence to the table. He told CNN the smart thing for the kingdom is to put in place a portfolio of strategic relations that all contribute to its security and prosperity in different ways. I'm not gonna read all of it, but we got it's Saudi Arabia is alliancing with Russia and China, right? India, Pakistan, a lot of these countries are ditching the dollar, right? Because the dollar's failing and America's a bully. You can't. How can you in a way like okay you killed Gaddafi and Saddam and Hussein, right? But what if like the biggest countries in the world start uniting together? Can you kill all of them? Can you shoot? Can you assassinate? No, you can't, right? Because you just can't do it. America is just one country, and NATO follows America. But I'm going to get to Isaiah 13 and 17. Behold, I'll stir up the Mede against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So, Russia's not gonna care. Russia's not gonna care. You know. You have gold, you have silver. America don't got no silver or gold. They have that dollar. That's it ain't backed by nothing. It's backed by it's nothing. It's no gold behind it. You can't trade it in for anything. It's just a dollar. Now they're about to just go to war. About to go to war with this. America. That's all America got is weapons. What's gonna be backed by weapons? Military. Every country got a weapon. So what now? So not, Babylon. It's falling. People are gonna starve. People are gonna be starving. When people wonder why they can't get no more food, it's because no, they're not taking a dollar no more. A lot of these countries where the food comes from and where the clothing comes from is from other countries. And when these other countries stop giving out the dollar, right? You're not giving out, accepting the dollar, I should say. It's what now, right? But people, Jake Yeah, Jake is just, I don't know what to say anymore. Jake just makes me mad. But you got more heathenistic nations. It's more looking into this than our own people. But Drake's too busy trying to be like the next Soldier Boy. You know, crank that Soldier Boy. That's what Jake is into folly. And guess what? These smaller nations are the underdog, right? I want to read this quote. Be careful how you treat those who you perceive to be below you. And isn't that what America has been doing to these smaller nations, to Iran, to Afghanistan, right? To Pakistan. Didn't they lose in Afghanistan too? They lost. And it's ridiculous. You got these small nations. They have no military power. They don't have tanks. They don't have jets. Then you still lost. You got all this advanced technology you brag about, but you still lost. What since you lost in Vietnam? Uh, America's a joke. It's funny in a way, right? They brag. They both got all these citizens. Oh yeah, America. You lost to a smaller country. You didn't even, and then, you didn't even lose to big countries, right? And not only that, but I've been noticing. I watched the video on World War I and World War II. The reason why America won those two wars is because they waited it out and then they started fighting. And it's like when both sides are exhausted, that's when America started fighting. And it's like, how you what are you doing? You're a punk. He's all thinking, yeah, I'm a fighter. No, man, he's just an opportunist. Damn devil. But a lot of these countries are getting tired of America, and they're starting to rising up. And people would never believe Russia would be back in power. Since the Cold War, the dismantling of the USSR, the USSR. It would never come back together. Russia would never be a military again. But it's happened before your eyes, right? But I want to reread this. Be careful how you treat those who you perceive to be below you. The universe has a way of favoring the underdog. That can happen, and that's what these other nations are. I'm gonna save this. I want to save this. Um, Beat your Joel 3:10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your prune hooks into spears. Let the weak say, "I am strong." Isn't that it? Are they not the underdog? You know, all these smaller nations have been bullied. Iran, right? Like I said, Afghanistan, Pakistan, um, China. China was once a small country. Russia, North Korea. They're fed up with this place. The African countries, even in Africa, they're getting tired of America. They don't want to listen to the Americans no more. They don't do nothing for them. And they're fed up. All these countries are about to fight. They're about to wipe out America. Brazil trying to strike trade deal agreement to ditch U.S. dollar. This is what's happening. They're trying to get rid of the dollar. Brazil and China have reportedly struck a deal to ditch the U.S. dollar in favor of their own currencies in trade transactions. The deal announced Wednesday will enable China and Brazil to carry out trade and financial transactions directly, exchanging yuan for reais or vice versa, rather than at first converting their currencies to the U.S. dollar. See, a lot of these countries are getting tired of America. The Brazilian Trade Investment Promotion Agency, Apex Brazil, said the new arrangement is expected to reduce costs to promote even greater bilateral trade and facilitate investment. China is Brazil's largest trading partner, accounting for more than a fifth of all imports. followed by the United States according to the latest figures. China is also Brazil's largest export market, accounting for more than a third of all exports. FDIC gives signature crypto clients account deadline. China overtook the United States as Brazil's top trading partner in 2009. Today, Brazil is the largest recipient of Chinese investment in Latin America, driven by spending on high-tension electricity transmission lines and oil extraction. So these countries are dealing with each other. They're trying to get rid of the dollar. And how? And where's that? Salaki? Where is that going to lead America? Into a famine, into a drought, into a scarce of resources, a scarce of supplies. America's not going to have as much as it had before, right? Your clothing is made in China. You know, your food is given by given by Brazil, right? Your vegetables, your fruits, right? Avocados, you know, star fruit, carrots is given by other countries. Yams, potatoes, right? And now you got all these countries one not deal with America no more. They're tired of this place. You know, it's happening. You know, this is the Lord. The Lord is about to give judgment. You know, the Lord is about to give judgment, and Esau is not ready. Esau thinks he got Edomites still on videos talking shit. I can't wait. Praise to Yahweh Shai, man. I can't wait to see the look of it. Who is that Americans gonna win? What happened? What happened? You know, cause like Esau he just vexing. You know, he thinks he's on top. He was always gonna be on the top of the world. And when the Lord hits him off that high horse, you know, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to get jumped. I can't. You know, he had no humility. He doesn't give no homage to nobody. The Most High, ultimately, you know, it's the Most High. And the Most High gave Esau that position. He doesn't even give. He's not. You know, I got myself to this high horse. I got myself up to this status with no hope from nobody. Esau doesn't even believe in the Most. He believes in atheism. He believes in we came from rocks, pebbles, and all that other garbage. Dolphins came from meteorites. You know, Esau is a fool. He's a fool, you know, and he's gonna die a fool. He's gonna die a fool's death, a missile to his face, you know, and it's getting old. Him thinking he's on top is getting old, getting repetitive, because he's not the strongest. He's not the superpower anymore, you know. And so he's gonna wake up to that. He's gonna say, "Damn, where did I go wrong?" You know, it's gonna be, you know what? You're a douche by being a douchebag. You know, that's what Esau is to the Most High. You know, he's a douchebag. You know, all these countries are gonna betray America. You know, Europe. You know, Brazil. You know, not only these other smaller nations like I named, but even their allies, Spain, right, Britain, England, Switzerland, New Zealand. They're gonna betray America. They're fed up. Hungary, you know, Turkey. They're gonna betray America. There's nothing America got going for them. You know, so why would they stay and defend this place, right? You know. But with that, you know, I hope this video is edifying. You know, but this country's Spanish. You know, Jake talking about how this country's gonna make it, how, you know, America's doing good by banning TikTok, you know, man, shut up. You know, Jake always Jake defending Esau. Jake wants Esau to survive, salivate, you know, this country, man. Shut up, bro. Shut up. You know, I'm tired of Jake defending this country. You know, there's a reason why America's banning TikTok. Cause it's spreading our data. Nigga, why do you care? Nigga? Stupid, man. Jake just loves just kissing ass, you know, and they're getting old too. They're getting old. They have no backbone, no anger. Just like, man, you know, Esau's a good man. He won't never, you know, Esau's a demon, you know. He's a demon. You know, it just get frustrating seeing our own people just roll over for each other, just roll over like a dog, just roll over. You know. But I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, the bonus to the elders, great millstone, and salutation to all Yakim on the highways, the byways. Till next time, say shalom.